pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible. Moving to silence. Thank you, everyone. Roll call, Meredith.
Councilwoman Catalin Cohen,
Present.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Present.
Councilman Pritchett,
Present.
Deputy Mayor Staglick,
Present.
Mayor Moustakis.
Here.
In compliance with the Open Public Meeting Act of the State of New Jersey, adequate notice of this Township Council meeting was provided on January 9th. Advance written notice was posted on the bulletin board at the Municipal Center, and copies were sent to the Burlington County Times and the Courier Post.
Can I get the approval of the bill list? Can I get a motion?
I make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Thank you.
Councilman Pritchett,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Staglick,
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalin Cohen,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
and Mayor Moustakis.
Aye. Can I get approval of the minutes? Can I get a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Staglick,
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalin Cohen,
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett,
Aye.
Mayor Moustakis.
Aye. So we're moving along to the resolutions. Meredith, you want to run through those?
Sure. We'll start with the first one, 25
Yep.
R-102, 2025 proclamation declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Do we have anybody here? Okay, I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this into order here, and then we can have you come up for this. Okay, great. All right. 2025 proclamation declaring the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Whereas this proclamation declares the first Friday in June to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day in the Township of Mount Laurel to honor and remember all victims and survivors of gun violence, and to declare that we are, as a country, must do more to end the public health crisis. Whereas every day 120 Americans are killed by gun violence and more than 200 are shot and wounded, with an average of nearly 43,375 deaths by gun every year. And whereas Americans are 26 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas New Jersey has 427 gun deaths every year with a rate of 4.8 deaths per 100,000 people, a crisis that cost the state $5.3 billion each year, of which $168.9 million is paid by taxpayers. New Jersey has the 5th lowest rate of gun deaths in the U.S., and whereas gun homicide and assaults are concentrated in cities with more than half of all firearms-related gun deaths in the nation occurring in 127 cities. And whereas cities across the nation, including in Mount Laurel, are working to end the senseless violence with evidence-based solutions, and whereas protecting public safety in the communities they serve is mayor's highest responsibilities, and whereas support for the Second Amendment right of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from the people with dangerous histories, and whereas mayors and law enforcement officers, in partnership with local violence intervention activists and resources, know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activities and how to address it, and the best positioned to understand how to keep these citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as we see an increase in firearms, homicide, non-fatal shootings across the country, increased calls to domestic violence hotlines, and an increase in city gun violence. Whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15, and on June 6, 2025, to recognize the 28th birthday of Hadia Pendleton, born June 2nd, 1997, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute to Hadia Pendleton and other victims of gun violence and loved ones of those victims. The idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's family and friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose this color because hunters wear orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas anyone can join this campaign by pledging to wear orange on June 6th, the first Friday in June 2025, to help raise awareness about gun violence. And whereas by wearing orange on June 6, 2025, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. And whereas we renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the hands of people who should not have access to them, and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our families and communities safe. Now, therefore, it be resolved that the mayor, township council, township manager, and the township of Mount Laurel, county of Burlington, state of New Jersey, declare the first Friday in June 2025 to be National Gun Violence Awareness Day. We encourage all citizens to support their local communities' efforts to prevent the tragic effects of gun violence and to honor and value human lives. This resolution was adopted by the Township Council May 5th, 2025, and shall be effective immediately. Can I get a vote on this, please?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Yep.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Stichelic.
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua.
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon.
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett.
Aye.
Mayor Mustavka.
Aye. Can I have people that are involved with this to come up, and if they like, we can take some pictures, and I have the proclamation.
Okay. I wait till they go back. Is this on? Get reseated.
I think a representative from the group wanted to say a couple words.
Yeah, I was going to say, so as the one of the Mount Laurel residents, I've been a resident. Actually, moved here when I was 2, and I moved back here when I was in my 30s. So I've been a Mount Laurel resident for quite a long time. And I just wanted to say, so as Leslie was saying, we're members of Moms Demand Action. So I'm kind of speaking probably to the rest of the group, to you as well. And what we focus on is trying to bring smart legislation, smart solutions for gun prevention, either through legislation or education and community programs. So the quick note that I just want to say on behalf of our organization is just, a thank you to Mayor Musakis and the rest of the Township Council for being a continued supporter of this proclamation. This has been, you have supported this for numerous years. We do greatly appreciate that you make the time for us and that you support that, as well as other initiatives throughout the year. So again, thank you. And if anyone has any questions who is here as an attendee, we will be here and we'd be happy to answer them after the meeting. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
very
you.
much.
Anybody else on that? Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah, sure. Come on up.
Into the microphone, man.
Yeah.
How about sideways? Okay. Just so you know, as Karen mentioned, that there are national programs, besmartforkids.org, which basically is all about secure storage because we find that we've got about 46 million children, minors, in homes with unsecured guns. And unfortunately, coming from a military background and owning a gun, it's a little disturbing that sometimes law enforcement does not secure their guns. Not that I'm saying anything about people here, but with 46 million kids and it being the number one killer of children, we're looking for two things. We're looking for a universal background check so that everybody in law enforcement and facilities that deal with these situations are on the same page. It also avoids and prevents some of the loopholes that gun dealers go through. Everybody should have a background check. We have all sorts of things for driving a car and such, so that's just normal. Also, New Jersey, and I'm very proud of this, we have since 2019, a red flag law. It's a different name in every state. New Jersey's extra special. Ours is called ERPO, Extreme Risk Protective Order. And what that means in a nutshell is that if you know of anyone in your town or even the individual's town, it could be a friend, it could be someone in law enforcement, it could be your boss, it could be your kid. You call the police, they do a wellness check, and if in their professional capacity feel that yes, we might want to lower the temperature, reduce the possibility of that individual, man, woman, or child, harming themselves, then they call via the police chief and get I guess you call it a warrant, I'm not really sure, from the state of New Jersey 24/7 because the judges are on call 24/7 to issue it. They remove the guns and ammunition, they hold them, and here's your due process because I'm a gun owner and I've never had anybody threaten to take my stuff away, probably should have, but this is not a Second Amendment infringement because you have 10 business days to go before a judge. It's mandatory. And then you state your case. And in 2023, we had approximately 1,200 temporary extreme risk protective orders, and we had a little less than 710 that got them back. And you do the math, the difference, those people through the court system had to plead their case again on other occasions and then did not get their guns and ammunition back. That's the due process. Any questions real quick? We can see you afterwards. And again, I really appreciate your time because I know you have a lot.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Continuing with the agenda, Meredith.
We're going to do a consent agenda from 25R 103 to 25R 121. 103, congratulations to Noreen Sigmund in the tax assessor's office. She passed her state test and is now officially certified and will be deputy tax assessor. 105 through 108 are vet deductions. 109 and 110 are required for the auditors to purchase goods. 111 is to cancel a grant. 112 is renewing the library shared service. 113 is amending a shared service. 114 and 115 are licensing agreements recommended by the township engineer. 116 is for the police to enter into an agreement with the county for behavioral health crisis calls. 117 is insurance for EMT students. 118 is awarding the 750 rental bid. 119 is awarding the bid for demolition of 115 Creek, which the township owns as the new site of a dog park. Resolution 120 is authorizing the purchase of land. Resolution out of the open space fund. Resolution 121 is to read the budget by title only.
Thank you, Meredith. Can I get a motion, please?
Make a motion to approve.
Can I get a second, please?
I second.
Thank you, Councilman.
Councilman Pritchett,
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jan Jewett,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Stegler,
Aye.
Mayor Mustakis.
Aye.
At this time, we need to have the public hearing on the budget. This year's budget, the average assessed home is $239,952. There is a proposed 6-cent tax increase to make sure that services to the Mount Laurel residents are not cut. And the surplus used in this budget is 68.89%, which is over $10,300,000. This would be a $11.91 tax increase monthly for the residents to make sure that no cuts in services. At this time, Mayor, myself, Bowman and Company, who worked on the budget, and all department heads who looked at every aspect of ways to save money and make sure that this was a smallest increase possible to the residents. All department heads are here to answer any questions from the residents on the budget.
Thank you, Meredith. So we are going to open the floor up for any discussions on that and that issue alone. Anybody want to speak on this or have any questions?
Good evening, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council, Manager, Attorney. My name is Erwin Edelson. I live at 139 Banwell Lane in Mount Laurel. Meredith, I read the budget.
Mhm.
I come up with, well, on the budget it says $52,410 this year. 52 million, I'm sorry, 410. I think you just said a different number.
I didn't give the whole budget.
Okay,
no.
but
Okay.
from my numbers, it's a 4.5% increase. On page 3B of the budget, there's a cap, it's titled cap calculation. Says COLA increase 3.5%, amount of increase allowable 1%. Is that how we got to the 4.5%, which is over the 2% allowed by
There's
law?
there's cap exceptions because,
The cap bank?
yeah, and we used cap bank and
So you
there's
use the combination? I'm sorry,
oh,
finish.
it's okay, sorry.
Yeah.
There's, the cap bank and the cap bank also plays into it, but there's also cap exceptions that
Mhm.
things get moved outside of the cap.
Right?
For example, the state of New Jersey gives a cap exception for like health insurance, because obviously health insurance, we had almost an 8% increase, which was almost $1 million increase, and that was with the township employees actually allowing us to shop rates and leave. We still had almost $1 million increase. So things go up over that 2%.
And this happened all this past year?
Hmm.
Not previous years? You didn't see this coming?
The state health, I mean, insurance, I mean, I hate to bring up the
Yeah.
past, insurance has been rising for years.
Mhm.
Mount Laurel has been part of state health insurance for a long time, and the employees chose to leave to help save money. If we had stayed with state health benefits, the increase would have been more than what it was.
I believe state health is in a lot of trouble right
They
now.
are.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Okay. We've also had some retirements, and the increase in retirements has also increased some of the only people who get temporary post-retirement benefits are the police department. They get them for 18 months, but we've had some significant retirements in the police department, which has also increased that bill.
Okay, okay. Are we doing a hiring freeze?
We are on a hiring freeze because obviously we are not looking to have a big tax increase next year. I mean, we're on a hiring freeze. We will replace any emergency management that leaves. For instance, if any police officers leave or EMTs leave, we will replace them because we do think it's important for Mount Laurel to maintain their emergency services.
Mhm.
You know, we pride ourselves in the quality of care that we give here in Mount Laurel. I will say, I think both chiefs that are sitting back there probably can attest that they had the most calls in the county this year. You know, so we wouldn't want to, you know, make residents put their lives in danger by
All
cutting.
right, so we're going to replace emergency service, police
Correct.
who
We're going to
retire.
maintain our levels.
What about other employees who are retiring? Parks, Recreation? Somebody retires this year, are they going to be replaced?
No,
Okay? And that won't affect any of our services.
no.
Okay.
Just additional work to
Okay.
current employees.
Page 10 of the budget. Local cannabis tax. Last year was
Yes.
$50,000 on the budget. We brought in almost 278,000.
Yes,
This year's 250,000 in the budget.
yes. You can only anticipate what we have to. Not everything was open. Last year we had one marijuana facility open. This year we have two, and then towards the end, two opened.
Mhm.
So we have to actually show we can only what we've gotten.
Can we raise the cannabis tax?
No, it's set by the state.
That's by the state.
Yes.
Didn't we have a?
Kind of like the hotel motel tax.
Okay.
Set
Mhm.
by the state,
Okay.
turned over to us.
All right. So
Quarterly?
everybody in Mount.
Quarterly, monthly, quarterly. Thank you.
Add some more to our taxes. I see salaries are going up anywhere from 2 to 5%. I'm sure some of that is union driven or.
Correct.
Yeah.
Set by
everything
bargaining
up
units.
there.
Yep. Nobody took over 2% except police officers,
Okay.
which are under
Um,
contract.
Page 20, the library. Last year was 2,651,000. This year is 3,029,000.
One-
12.5% increase.
1/3 mill set by the state doesn't affect your local tax, and we have no control. We have no control over it. It's set by a state formula.
Okay. Page 24, National Opioid Settlement.
Yes.
Last year was 36,000. This year, almost 182,000.
grant
Where
money.
does that money go?
We
Well,
actually do a program with the police department. They're doing a fantastic program to help facilitate service and needs for individuals that are addicted, primarily in our hotel areas. It's
Mhm.
actually being regarded as one of the best in New Jersey. That being said, it's really strict in what you can use the money for.
It's
Where does
grant
the
money.
money
It
co-
comes
where
from
does the-
lawsuits from people who have OD'd on opiates.
National or
National.
county?
National.
That's national money?
Yes. So it's a formula and it's calculated and it's turned over to us, and then the state dictates what the grant money can and can't be used for. So as the deputy mayor stated, the police department has taken the initiative. One of the things that's allowable is to get, establish a relationship with individuals within your community that might be at high risk.
Mhm.
And that's what they're using the funds for.
Okay.
And you have to submit that to
Yes.
the state. when
Yes.
Yeah.
Tara does a yearly report that she's, as you can see, very excited about.
Okay. So township 4.5%. Read yesterday that Lenape's 19.2%. We haven't heard from Mount Laurel schools yet. But townships around us, Bedford and Malton, over 20%. Put your seatbelts on, And as a senior, yeah, I'm in Anchor and I hope the state thing gets maintained. It's getting a little outrageous. And we have, I believe, liability for another 424 low-income housings, which probably equate to another 1,500 to 2,000 because the builders have to build more than just 424 to make money. So here we go again. And please keep your eye on this. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Evening, council. Andrew Gauze, 154 Kettlebrook Drive, been a long time. Page 40B of the budget was talking about information and technology, 300,000 allocated over the course of the next few years. What's that for? Is
So
that
that's capital money. So capital money is to make sure the police chief might be able to speak more to it, but we're required to have body cameras. We're expected to keep them backed up, which requires multiple servers. Also to it goes to any of our phones, our computers, any of those types of upgrades that need to happen. At any time, one of their cameras break, we have to buy a new one, things of that nature. We also have in-car cameras currently that we're under contract to that we're also required. So it's the maintenance and the upkeep of all IT stuff.
Okay. Does the council subscribe to, or I
And
guess,
oh, sorry.
yeah, you're good.
The 350,000 doesn't mean we're gonna spend that. We're
Okay.
borrowing it in capital, so we might have it for the next 5, 10 years, and we might use it over time. So it's there because unfortunately with IT, I'm sure you know,
Okay.
you never know when it's gonna go and it's gonna be updated and it's, we're gonna need to, improve it. So I don't want you to think when you see that amount, capital money doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna be spent. It's just allocated there in case we need it.
So that would be separate for subscriptions to say, I don't know if the township uses something like Microsoft 365 or
We do
like
use
Team-
Microsoft
Teams.
360. Yeah, we do use Microsoft 365, and that can be part of that.
Okay.
'Cause they bill us for 5 years.
Okay. Does the council use any sort of, or township use any of the AI functionality of Microsoft 365?
Not to my knowledge.
Is it limited expressly?
I don't believe we have that service. I've never used AI.
No,
I don't.
Microsoft 365 Copilot's built right in.
No, we use it just for email, Excel, and Word.
So it is built into
Okay.
email, Excel, and Word. So any stuff
Okay.
that you're doing is, you can ask Microsoft to help you when you're crafting an email or something. So does township have any sort of safeguards in terms of making sure that information that's housed by the township, such as personal files of employees, tax
Okay.
information, safeguards that those aren't exposed to
Yes.
the AI that
Yes.
you're listening? Okay.
Yeah, we have a JIF audit every year that we have to comply with to make sure that we're up to code. I will say that Jerry's lucky enough to get 100 back there all the time, but they come in and they check our protocols to make sure that our data can't be breached. We have a lot of dual access for banking,
Mhm.
for, same thing with, and things with social security numbers and stuff are kept locked up and normally print it, those
Okay.
documents.
So
when
yeah,
they're in. Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
standard multi-factor authentication.
Yes.
And every employee also has to do a test.
Yes, that
Say
is
again,
true.
sorry.
Every employee also has to do a test as well,
Mhm.
like a safe.
So basically like a cybersecurity awareness.
Yes, and everybody, yeah, and the deputy mayor's correct. Everybody in the building that has access to a computer has to pass it.
Okay. I don't know if it's me sitting in the back. But
Mhm.
It's extremely hard to hear
Oh,
everybody
okay.
from the microphones. I don't know if that could be turned off. I
Okay.
don't. Hopefully, you don't need to spend any of that 300,000 on new microphones. or
No,
anything.
no.
Did
Well,
I-
we control it up here. Is that a little bit better?
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Name's Antoinette DePaula. I live at 28 Breton Way in Mount Laurel. Two questions regarding what could be included in the budget. The DEI committee that was formed in 2022 under the prior administration in the White House, are these paid members?
No.
Do they serve in any other capacity in the township that are paid, that
No.
do
No,
receive?
they're volunteers.
They're total volunteers.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, and then is it possible that with the influx of illegal aliens into our township, that we are subsidizing their housing, food, because there is a complete influx that I see.
There's no money in the budget where we subsidize anybody's food or housing.
Anything, education.
Nope.
Well,
No.
who's paying for that?
I would direct you to the school and the county and the state,
The
but it's
council.
not us.
Okay.
There's no line item. We don't subsidize anybody's housing.
And with the elimination of some of the budget monies that come from the state, from Trenton, that hasn't impacted.
No, just the federal government. We've lost a lot of grants that would really help Mount Laurel Township, and the president has, stopped some grants that we would have been eligible for that would have been beneficial to our residents, like some of the roads that you see paved, some of the projects that you see at your parks and stuff we're not eligible for because those grants have been eliminated by the federal government. But as for the state, they've upheld keeping our state aid and we've had no cuts. And believe it or not, actually, Governor Murphy gave us an $83,000 park grant. I mean, which does help us considering the fact we are losing some federal funding.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Evening.
Good evening.
Cheryl Coco Capri, 45 Martyr Avenue. I'm going to be critical of this process, the budget process. The budget was originally posted on the Mount Laurel the home page of the mountlaural.com website, and then mysteriously it disappeared. And
It's
I've
been up there for
tried-
28 days, which is required by law.
Okay,
So it's been posted for 28 days.
but it was not posted for 28 days. It was originally there. It disappeared, and then it magically appeared back. But it was funneled not through when you go to the council's page. You've got agenda. What was the other one? The packet link, and within the last day, now was posted under.
No, it's
the
always been on the
more
finance page. It's on the finance page. It says introduced budget.
Okay, so.
So that's where all the budgets, the AFS and audits are.
To me, this is extremely important for all the residents to know exactly what's going on. It needs to be easy to find. Basically, when you're going to do a budget, it really should be on the home page. I swear it was on the home page and it disappeared, and then it reappeared, but it was funneled under this meetings site. So it should be front and center and easy to access for all of the residents of Mount Laurel. And I can't help but think that this whole process has been done very quietly. In the past, Meredith yourself, you used to do a presentation of the budget where you do the state of the state about the budget, what's been cut, what we're going to spend the money on. And why was that presentation eliminated? That was wonderful. This tax increase, it really, to me, has essentially been hidden to most of the residents because none of it's been published. None of it's been in the press. except for one.
It has. It's required by law to be advertised in the newspaper. It was advertised in the Burlington County Times. I mean,
I
the
understand
process
that,
is.
but nobody reads the
I know, and
newspaper.
the budget is in the same exact place that the budget's been for. I've been here 14 years. 14 years, the budget's been in the same place. It's on the finance page. We're required to have it there. We put the budget up. We put the user-friendly budget up, the AFS, so I apologize that you weren't able to see it, but it hangs in the municipal building. Like I said, we do the required advertisements. So we make it as public as possible. We introduced it. 2 newspapers actually did stories on it. I'm always available. The CFO and the deputy CFO are also always available to answer questions on the budget.
No, I agree, but in this particular instance, really, in every year, there should be a link on the homepage. Most people don't
Yeah, it's all.
research and funnel through the page.
I wish it was that easy, like, with sizing and everything and that black box that picks up, you can't, like, even if we put a link, it would go to the finance page, but I thank you for the suggestion and we can take it
I'm not
under
opposed to that
consideration.
suggestion.
Yeah.
Put it on the homepage.
Thank you.
Evening. Joe Cortez, 2 Email Court. So with the increase in the taxes, loss of grants, probably knew like some grants were being lost. Do you guys look into any curtailment of services, any extracurricular activities that the township does that should be cut? Has that been looked into? If not, why not?
No, I mean, I can speak for myself on that. I wouldn't want to cut any services, to be honest with you. I pride myself in the services that the township provides. And, I think Meredith did a nice job at kind of giving everybody an overview. Oh, sure. Sorry. No, I wouldn't want any cuts to any kind of services to the township. Meredith did a really nice job explaining just the cost of doing business, unfortunately, and how it is going rising up. Irwin spoke to that, I think, very eloquently as well. But no, personally, I can't speak for everybody else on this dais, but I wouldn't want to cut any services.
So is there anything like extracurricular that?
There's
that's
not
included?
much extracurricular. I mean, I guess the way I want to answer the question for you is that just because there's a tax increase, we're not looking to cut costs. We're always looking to get the best dollar for the resident, even when we have a $0 budget. You know, one of the biggest increases in this budget was also trash. You know, we're under contract. We're in our fifth year. The last 2 years, this council has authorized to go back out for bid the last 2 years just to see if they happen to get a better rate in the last 2 years of the contract. And the bids have just come in almost at like 100% increase. You know, Jerry is constantly back there thinking of ways or things that we can do to save money on tipping fees and trash. You know, every department, even the police chief, has met with me multiple times and the deputy chief of even different ways to restructure because they want to save money. But I don't want that. I don't want to say to residents, we only do that when we're looking at a tax increase. We do that every year and every year out because we don't want to raise taxes and we always want to make sure we're spending taxpayer money as wisely as possible.
I mean, getting out of the health insurance was a big one.
Mhm.
That was a big, and even then, that's a $900,000 increase, even when we got out of it. Which is that's a process in itself too.
So I'm going to just jump in because I've worked with watching Meredith and the departments work through this. It's never easy to have an increase, but look at what's happening in the federal government. It trickles down, but we look at it how you can't, okay. Can you hear me any better now? Okay. So what I was saying is the level of work that goes into this, and I love when people come up and ask questions because we've had the same questions. A lot of us on the dais here, we question things, we look at things. I mean, some of us are getting hit harder than others, depending on where you live and the home you have. But to me, the most important thing is that we maintain services. We live in a wonderful community. Every council person here cares about this community and wants to see it move towards the right direction. Unfortunately, costs go up, and everybody out there, if you go to the supermarket, if you go to different places to buy things, costs go up. We have a small increase. We haven't had increases in Meredith. How many years?
Six?
Six,
Five.
six, 5 years.
5 years.
We haven't had an increase in 5 years, and I know prior Mayor Stedlick and the mayors that have been up here before as well, council, how hard they work. So it's not fun being, I'm the new mayor this year and I have an increase. So we all worked hard to make sure that that increase was at a place where it's manageable and that services are maintained and we don't lose anything. And we even have a new councilwoman who's studying this as well to make sure that things are going the right direction. I love the involvement of our council, but our leaders, our employees that do this, our department heads, really dug into this year and other years. But this year, I really saw the concerns of things that may be coming about, and we're trying to keep it in check. But these are great questions, and I think they're important for our community to know. And I like the suggestion about the homepage, but I can tell you this was not hidden because I have been called upon repeatedly over the last several months and asked questions about this.
I appreciate that, Mayor.
Thank you.
That's a
Thank you,
thoughtful
Joe.
response, and I know that how much you guys care about the township. I would just say that with 20% inflation that we just went through over the past few years, and the current environment, and what Irwin said about the school district increases as well, it's going to put a hurting on a lot of people.
It is. Agreed.
Making
But we're
it-
trying to manage it, get through this.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to come up and say anything?
Good evening. Dennis Riley, 10 Windflower Court. I just have to voice my opposition when we look at the award to bid lease of township property to Mueller Public Strategies. Okay. In full compliance with the Faulkner Act, I believe that everyone on this dais,
This is not a budget question? I don't, is it a budget question that you have?
well, I can say that Meredith did a wonderful job before doing the presentation. So that's with the budget. Is
Okay.
there a separate public?
Yes.
Yes.
hearing?
Yes.
I'll be back.
Yes, we'll get you at the end. Thank you. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Mustakis. Good evening, Deputy Mayor. Good evening, council, men and women. Good evening. Are you the clerk, the manager, or both, Meredith?
Both.
Good evening to you, Meredith, attorney, and the young lady sitting to your right. I do have a question about open space funding. It seems like open space.
I think we missed your name. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
My name is Trevor Shell, and I reside at 164 Camber Lane.
Thank you, Trevor.
You're welcome. So I do have a question about the open space as pertains to the budget.
Sure.
It seems to be evaporating before our very eyes. And if you're going to increase the budget, I'd be happy to pay to retain as much of our open space in our township. It does feel like we're being a little bit overrun. And I know it's nice when we get a new building or a new business, that's new tax revenue. But it also has other implications on our maybe slightly stressed infrastructure, like our roads. I would also ask a question about our road funding. Union Mill Road has been an
Going to get paved this summer.
It is
It's
getting
getting paved. Yep.
this summer.
Well, praise.
I'm happy to say it's getting paved this
Wow.
summer.
That's been a
If
record.
not, I'll give you Jerry Mosher's cell phone number. You can call him.
Okay, so just about the open space, I would like to know what we're doing to continue to maintain a good level of open space in Mount Laurel.
That's
Right.
actually gonna be a referendum vote. Is that correct?
Mhm.
In this November?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened is the reason you see the amount going down is because there was like a sunset. The tax continues to keep lowering. We're not actually asking to increase the tax. We're just asking to maintain the tax so that it doesn't continue to go to zero. Because it continues to decrease, which obviously then funding would stop. We're asking the residents to vote in November if they will maintain the current open space tax. And again, that will continue to be used to to buy land to stop development. But also the residents had voted that it could also be used to improve recreational spaces. It's not used for any type of salaries, but it is used to purchase land and upkeep recreation.
I'm glad Union Mill is being paved, but what are we doing thinking long term about maintaining our own roads?
Sure.
We're not always going to be able to rely on the federal government or on
Yep.
the state government, but there are roads.
Mhm.
We drive on them. We're the residents of this town.
Sure.
I'm not talking about 38 or 70, but I am talking about Union Mill Road or
Township roads. Yep.
Boulevard, all of our township roads. What
So
plans do
they're
we have in place to
evaluated.
take care of them?
Yeah, they're evaluated by Jerry Masha and the township engineer, and they propose a road program every other year. Every other year, we borrow money, we bond for money, and that's how we pave. They're multi-million-dollar projects when we have to pave roads in the township. So we want to make sure that they're evaluated properly and that we're taking the most deteriorated roads and doing them first over other roads. So we will continue to evaluate them and we'll continue to have a road program every other year.
So is there like a fund that we
It's
set money
capital.
aside?
So it's capital. So we put a down payment, you pay it over 30 years. I think Tara's going to kill me here. Our last road program, about $5 million we spent on Jerry 13 roads. We did maybe 12, 13. Sorry, my memory. Yeah, 12, 13 roads. And it was about $5 million. So then we will pay that over, we bonded for that money.
Very good. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor.
So, and I forgot to say my address. So I'm 100 Karen Tillman, 100 Holly Lane. So I'm very excited about Union Mill. I just was actually going through the document on your site. I did not come here for the budget, so this is just a bonus that I get to be here for this conversation. But based on some of the questions that I heard and some of the recommendations, I wanted to offer some of my own. One is it might be valuable. I think about we do this from a professional perspective that in these meetings when the budget's discussed, do you actually capture all the questions and then post what the questions are on the site and what those answers are to those questions? So just for as an example, a lot of what I heard, Meredith, was these are set by the state. It's not something that we have control over. But if you look at the document, there's no way to really know that piece of information. I think that's really valuable. So I would recommend either can we have a summary of important information that people typically ask. Mayor, you'd mentioned there are a lot of questions, you get a lot of repeated questions, or can you maybe have a post-budget kind of FAQ that people can go back to, and so then they can help educate themselves. So when they're going through the budget, they know, oh, you know what? Even though this went up, this isn't something that we have control over. It's state dictated.
I like the suggestion.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you.
And I actually I echo the woman here about the presentation. I actually was here for one years back. I do think that's very valuable. It's a chance for you to kind of present, and then it might also reduce the number of questions. So that's maybe I just wanted to echo what she said. I think that's a good suggestion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the budget? Because if there's nobody else, I'm going to close that part tonight. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. Lost my place. Meredith,
So it's
Yep.
25R 122, resolution authorizing the adoption of the 2025 Mount Laurel municipal budget.
I'll make a motion to approve.
you get a second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Stegler,
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett,
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua,
Aye.
Mayor Mustakis.
Aye.
And then on a consent agenda, we just have two grants that have to be brought in afterwards. The one is the $83,000 state grant for local recreation, and we received $79,075.86 in recycling tonnage grant. So this would be a motion for 25R 123 and 25R 124.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Stegler.
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett.
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua.
Aye.
Mayor Mustakis.
Aye. So we're going to have ordinance for the first reading, Meredith?
Ordinance 2025-5, an ordinance supplementing Chapter 70 of the Township Code to authorize trap, neuter, vaccinate, return program in an effort to prevent the euthanasia of stray and feral cats.
And that's a publication date of May 13, 2025, and a hearing date of June 16, 2025.
I'll make a motion to introduce.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Stegler.
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua.
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon.
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett.
Aye.
Mayor Mustakis.
Aye. Reading of the ordinance 2025-6.
Okay, bear with me. Bond ordinance authorizing the acquisition of various capital equipment and the completion of various capital improvements in and for the Township of Mount Laurel, County of Burlington, New Jersey, appropriating the sum of $2,500,000, therefore authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds and bond anticipated notes of the Township of Mount Laurel, County of Burlington, New Jersey, in aggregate principal amount of up to $2,375,000, making certain determinations and covenants and authorizing certain related actions in connection with the foregoing.
With a publication date of May 13, 2025, public hearing date June 16, 2025. Can I get a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Get a second?
I'll second.
Deputy Mayor Stegler.
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett.
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon.
Aye.
Councilwoman Janjua.
Aye.
Mayor Mustakis.
Aye. Ordinance 2025-4.
An ordinance amending the Fellowship Area Redevelopment Plan to increase the maximum square footage of the floor area within any particular retail store. Sorry. An ordinance amending the Fellowship Area Redevelopment Plan to increase the maximum square footage of the floor area with any particular retail store.
Can I get a motion?
No, public
Oh,
hearing, we
oh,
have to
public
open.
hearing, sorry. Anybody want to speak on this issue and this issue alone? No? Okay.
this is to amend the redevelopment to add to the square footage. Um, the Walmart is going to be adding a section to their facility with the grocery pickup where they store the groceries when they do the curbside pickup. That's now become a big thing. So it's just a storage area for the groceries.
A lot of the Grubhub, DoorDash stuff. Okay. Okay, I'm going to close this section. Thank you. All right, so now we're going to open
Just
it.
a motion this time.
Oh,
Make
make
a
a
motion
motion,
to
yeah.
approve ordinance 2025-4.
I second.
Deputy Mayor Steglich,
Aye.
Councilwoman Catalan Colon,
Aye.
Councilwoman Jan Jewett,
Aye.
Councilman Pritchett,
Aye.
Mayor Mustako.
Aye. Okay, so now we're moving into public participation. I think somebody had something, gentleman to the right. Well, I'm going to let him go first because he was up. So I'm going to, is that okay? Oh, okay, okay. Point it to you.
Jen Cheryl Coco Caprice, 45 Martyr Avenue. I also want to be fully transparent. I'm a member of the Citizens for New Jersey Election Integrity. So this municipal building, as you all know, is going to be used as a place to vote for 6 voting districts in Mount Laurel. Municipal building serves the public and is supposed to be free of political activity by any political party. The New Jersey local government ethics law prohibits municipal officials and employees from engaging in activities that create conflicts of interest or the appearance of impropriety. The New Jersey State Ethics Commission has issued guidance emphasizing that public facilities should not be used in ways that suggest partisan alignment. So while Assemblywoman Murphy rents space within this building, her sign on the front window will have to be masked during the primary and general election day voting period.
And it will be. We've committed to that.
Thank you. And tonight, through Resolution 25-R-118, you all voted to allow Mueller Public Strategies. That is Mike Mueller, who is chairman of the Mount Laurel Democrat Committee. He's also a political strategist for the Democrat Party. To rent space within this building. Isn't this a huge conflict of interest and unethical? New Jersey courts have ruled that public buildings are held in trust for public purposes, and leasing space to private entities must serve a public interest. And that is the local lands and buildings law. I'm not going to quote the NJSA numbers. I can give them to you if you want. I've only got 3 minutes. So a political strategist business would not meet this threshold unless their work directly supports a public function. So if a municipality in New Jersey, which is generally exempt from property taxes, leases real estate to a for-profit business, the leased portion of the property becomes taxable. But if the property is not used for a public purpose, the exemption does not apply. And that is NJSA 54:4-3.3. So not only that, but Mueller Public Strategies would occupy the same floor as our municipal clerk. The clerk, as most know, is responsible for receiving voting results for the primary and general election, overseeing elections, which requires strict impartiality to ensure fair and unbiased election administration. So how can voters be assured that their votes will be private from
Cheryl, that's your 3 minutes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
George, did
After
you?
next time.
Yeah, so,
Okay. George, did you want to take this?
yeah, the rental of space was done through a public process. It was a minimum bid set put out to the public so that anyone could rent that space if they wanted to. It's currently excess space, but in the future, if
needs exist that will be used for public purpose.
But his business is not a public. It
The
is a
public
partisan-
purpose, the public purpose of that is to bring in revenue for the town so that it helps offset the budget. It's not that
But if
big,
it's
but
it's
it
a
helps offset.
for-profit business that supports partisan result, right? It's not supporting the public. The public, Mount Laurel covers everyone. You know, no matter what political party that you may belong to. It's, in my opinion, it does not meet the public interest.
The
to
public
rent any
interest, again,
property.
is to bring in revenue to the township, which is absolutely a public interest.
Respectfully, I disagree.
You are entitled to your opinion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Once again, Dennis Riley, 10 Windflower Court. To follow up, Cheryl, having been in your position, if I had countered this situation, I would still have opposition to it. Based upon the fact that the Faulkner Act rules when it comes to the governance of the township, which means for the public, manager, mayor, council. I firmly believe that within the walls of this building, it is only manager, mayor, council, and their staff that should be in this building to be in full compliance with the Faulkner Act. If this building is too large, it shouldn't have been purchased. And there's issues with that. There's a lot of commercial space that we wouldn't lose almost $400,000 a year in commercial taxable rateable that we could have gone to. And some of it's owned by the township. We could have gone to the second floor of the community center. We could have gone to the monastery. We had options. We had options. And this is why it should be clearly manager, mayor, council, not assemblywoman. I actually had friends from Moorestown and Delran. You mean I have to go to your municipal building to see my state representative? Uh-huh.
Well, that's not the only place you have to go to.
It's her office.
It's not the only office.
It's on the front
It's not
floor.
her only office.
And
though.
why is it
But
365
you said that
days?
that was the only place you have to go to. That's not true. She has
Well,
other offices.
It's her office.
It's one of her offices.
Okay.
And also too, the township engineer did look at the second floor of the community center, and it would have cost us more to renovate the second floor of the community center for the employees than it would have if we purchased this building. We actually saved taxpayer money by coming and purchasing this building instead of renovating. We looked at that. We also looked at actually getting free land from a developer and building a whole new building. And all of the aspects that this council and myself looked at would have cost the taxpayer more money than if we had just purchased this building.
And when did we make the monastery into a public use? What year?
And that was bought, that was.
We bought it.
Yes, and that was, and it was
2018.
bought with open
Was it?
space
Right.
money, which can't house the municipal building.
Okay. Well, there was still the second floor of the community center, for starters. Okay. So, once again, we had options. I myself would remain in full compliance with the Faulkner Act. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council, Louis Ruiz, Berkshire Drive, 26-year resident here. I guess the gentleman who said that it's the number one purpose is to drive revenue, I found out particularly concerning because that means you'd rent it to anybody if they gave you a great price, anybody. And that to me is very dangerous because then you'd say, well, hey, you know what, anything can be here. You name it, any type of establishment. So that's particularly concerning when you said that. If that's the number one purpose.
That's not accurate. Okay.
But you said that.
The bid specifications were,
Oh, well, now you're saying that, but that's not what you said 5 minutes ago. sir.
okay, well,
So I'm addressing what you said specifically. We're
okay,
being very
it's been
concise.
clarified.
Please re-clarify.
The bid specifications allowed for an office use.
For anybody, just to drive revenue.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure that.
Can you talk about the
clear,
bidding
because
process?
That was a very dangerous precedent you said. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on anything?
So if it is improper in terms of the appearance of impropriety,
I'm sorry, can we have your name?
sure, Antoinette DePaula, 28 Breton Way. If the appearance of impropriety is part of the conduct, the code of conduct, how do you not adhere to that?
The appearance of impropriety does not, it does not come into play in a public bidding process like this. It was put out to the public so that an office use was available.
But you should use your discretion at whom
You
you
can't
would
use your
award
dis-
that to.
George,
No, you
George,
can't use
explain the bidding
discretion on it.
process.
The bidding process in the case of a bid like this would look for the highest bidder who came in that had an appropriate use. Now, appropriate use in this situation is an office use, right? So a restaurant couldn't come in and take that space,
Okay, right.
right?
But
Or
if it
a
suggests
cannabis facility couldn't come in and take that space. It had to be an office use.
but you don't think that if it goes against the appearance of impropriety,
Again,
you,
ma'am,
you take, don't you have to adhere to codes of conduct?
yes, all the
So
codes of
if
conduct
it-
are followed,
If
ma'am.
it merely appears to be inappropriate, just for appearance sake, it should have not even been considered for the bid. No?
No,
Then what's the
the
purpose of
appearance
the
of
code of
impropriety
conduct?
standard does not apply here, ma'am.
So if you have counsel, if you have a clerk, if you have voting in the same building and you bring in one party, the Democratic Party, that doesn't seem to appear to be inappropriate, where even if nothing does go wrong, even if nothing does happen, the fact that the party is here in a space,
It's not the political party that's here, ma'am. It's Mueller's strategies.
But-
They are different.
I understand that, but so who does Mueller strategists, who do they?
You're,
Yeah.
Mr. Mueller runs elections all across the country.
Okay,
He runs public
Is-
advocacy issues all across the country.
and he doesn't stay with one particular party?
I have no idea.
it's a private, he has a private company. It's not the Democratic Party's name on the door. It's a private company. He owns that company.
I don't think I really know too much about it, but just from hearing that, I mean, when you have to adhere to a code of conduct to avoid the mere appearance of impropriety, it just doesn't jive. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
Gloria Stevens, 515 Hartford Road. Good evening. By the way, I've been upstairs in the community center many times. It's not big enough. It's not big enough. It's just be extra. That's not what I'm here to talk about, though. Okay, Mount Laurel, thank you, owns a fair amount of open space. I think that's great. I think we're 25% now of the township is open space, something like that. Maybe.
Looking at Jerry.
That
It's been a
number
rough
seems
night for me,
that number
Jared. Why don't
seems
you-
really high. I don't
That
think it's 25.
Seems high. I don't know. Anyway, but we do have a fair amount of open space now. And inevitably, in that open space, it's a pretty big township. There are animals, there is wildlife. And this township has nothing in the way of animal control facilities, not facilities, just animal control to deal with any kind of wildlife problems. I have had 2 experiences in the last few months, which were upsetting. This Saturday morning, on my way somewhere, and too long a story, but anyway, I could not stop. There was a dead doe on Elbow Lane with the fawn lying beside it, waiting for his mother to get up. And he looked perky, okay? And there he was. And we didn't know what to do. I called Mount Laurel Animal Hospital. I thought maybe they would have advice. They were very short with me. They said, "We don't do wildlife." And I said, "Can I explain my situation? Maybe you'll have an idea what I could do." She said, "We don't do wildlife. Call animal control." And all right, "Do you have their number?" "No." "Okay, thank you for nothing, Mount Laurel Animal Hospital."
Did you call police?
So then my husband was also trying, we called the police, and they said, "We will send someone out." And it was quite a long time. I think it was well over an hour and a half before an officer showed up to do what they could do. Now, I don't expect Mount Laurel police to take a fawn.
We have a
And-
company that handles it, and the police should know who they're supposed to call, and they definitely should have been there before an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So you see that police chief right back there? He's definitely going to speak to you before he leaves
Yeah.
tonight.
Right. So when the officer came out, he said that Cedar Run will not take, it was a fawn, all right? It wasn't tiny, but it was definitely a fawn. Cedar Run will not take a fawn unless it has white spots. They said, "Sorry, can't take it." Now, at this point, we don't know whether it was mortally wounded, whether it was hurt at all, or what. My husband was there with it the whole time. He said it seemed to have trouble getting up. So there was no choice with the officer. He said, "I will euthanize. I will take it away into the bushes and do what I have to do," which I guess he did.
Gloria, your
Yes.
3 minutes have expired.
Pardon me? Oh, I've got a 3-minute time now? When did that,
But I
when
do
did that?
want you to, I do want you to
didn't-
speak with
I didn't know
Chief
there was a
Hudnall back
3-minute
there.
time. That's new since I've spoken.
So,
Okay.
Gloria, is to help the situation, is it like a better understanding for the public of like what to do if you see a dead animal on the side of the road, something to that effect, or
That was just one. I'm sorry. The other one was a raccoon that could possibly have been rabid, and we didn't. There was no response. There was no place. There was nothing. There was nobody to go to.
So we do have two different companies. One handles deer and then one handle wildlife. And if you talk to the police chief, I would like him to look into the call that you had to make sure it was appropriately
The-
handled, because police should know what services they should be calling.
The animal control that's listed on the township website says only dogs and cats. It specifically says only dogs and cats.
All the other animals, you have to call police, and then they call the correct company to make sure the
Right.
correct company comes
the
out.
wildlife, like deer,
Okay.
raccoon.
Mhm.
It didn't seem to work for us, so.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Chief, would you mind speaking to her at the, thank you, Chief. Anybody else?
Andrew Gauze, 154 Kettlebrook Drive. Maybe you should invest a little bit of that 300,000 in a timer for people that are new to the whole limiting process, so that they know how much longer they have to speak. Maybe I should talk to the police chief after this, but I've encountered a lot of issues on the road in Mount Laurel over the last, I moved here in 2016, so almost 10 years. I don't know if it's just the drivers are terrible. A lot of people moving in don't care, but I've seen so many people run blatant red lights, not know how to turn left onto 38, and people who are in the leftmost lane wanting to go to, not the falls, but you know what I mean, are getting all the way over to the right or trying to get to the Dunkin' Donut and almost cause accidents all the time. I don't know if our police are overworked, if they're dealing with other things at the hotels and not able to really do anything for keeping our roads safe.
Well, now I'm going to stick up for my police,
I know-
because they are constantly out there. And if you even knew, I mean, I'm sure the chief could bore you with data of how many traffic stops they do daily, weekly. Unfortunately, we are living in a time right now with everybody's in a rush.
Yeah.
Some people are on cell phones, but they know it's a top priority of keeping, residents, especially kids on bus stops, safe. We have a traffic lieutenant who is constantly looking in the neighborhoods. We have speed traps set up in areas that residents, so if you have a specific area, you're more than welcome to email Lieutenant DiGirolamo, and they actually set up and patrol that area and then give you the findings so.
And
Make a-
Andrew, I'm going to jump in for a second too.
But I'm not
because
denying that they're not busy, and I'm sure they would
Yeah,
love
I
10 more
know
officers.
that they're busy because I see them, and sometimes I'll see like 4 of them going, and I'm like, okay, maybe they have a call that they're responding to.
Mhm.
They're not doing lights and sirens in order to avoid accidents. themselves
So
and
Andrew,
such.
I drive around Mount
I don't
Laurel
want
a
to
lot
lose
this
my
year.
3 minutes.
No, we
Is
stopped
you
it.
speaking counting against me for my 3 minutes? Okay,
No.
good.
So, I mean, I see the police out there all the time. They don't know it's me and they don't know it's the mayor driving around, but I see police officers constantly and they're constantly pulling people over. So, I know how hard they work. I concur with Meredith on that one. I don't disagree. People are a little bit more aggressive. There are probably places to go. And there's that Hartford exit where the Sunoco is. I notice you got to make a right. I notice a lot of people try to make a left,
Yeah.
but there are police out there and they are stopping. So, all right, I'll let
It's
you give
just
you back
gotten
your 3
so
minutes.
significantly worse over the last 9 years that I've lived here. I sometimes I see them on 38. I had an experience a few months ago where I was driving down Arc Road and I was stopping for a pedestrian at the crosswalk, and I had people like going around me as I stopped for the pedestrian, and people stopped on the other side. It's like people don't have a common sense of decency anymore. I don't know what's happening to our town and the drivers on it.
Well, I'm sure the chief could attest to how many times I was almost hit walking to the library. People wouldn't even stop for me when I was walking across a crosswalk to our own library. So, yeah, unfortunately, but I can definitely tell you the officers are proactive and safety is their top priority. And I have to say that I do think our officers work extremely hard for the call volume and the manpower that they actually have.
And then just another question about technology stuff. As this building will be a polling location, I know that it was a former Lockheed Martin building and that they've had fun problems with Wi-Fi and stuff in their spaces because they purposely, obviously, don't want Wi-Fi signals getting into the building, and this is a big ass concrete box. So, is the township prepared to actually have this location as a polling location and
Yes.
support all of the Wi-Fi necessary for the polling machines and all the logistics set up? Because I know that when the township building was first built, that Lockheed Martin had to send out an email to all their people saying, "Don't let people badge in behind you," or not badge in, tailgate as they call it, walk in behind you. So is the township actually prepared to have this building be 3 polling locations and
Yes.
all the signs and such?
Yes.
Because I'm sure that this is going to be crowded on election day when everybody is leaving, the rest of the tech campus is leaving to try to get in, and making a left onto that road just doesn't happen.
And those hardworking police officers will be
be
out
there.
there making sure
Okay.
traffic
Glad to hear
is
that they were
smoothly going.
Yeah, I
Andrew,
know that
thank
they
you
were
so
out
much.
there
Yeah.
on Arc Road and I guess it's Masonville at that point on election day.
Yeah.
That very much helped
Yeah.
keep the traffic.
Andrew, thank you. Anybody else have anything before I?
Good evening. My name is Karen Shell, 164 Canberra Lane, and I have some information about geoengineering and the stuff that they're doing in the skies. And I would really like both the township for you guys to go to our elected folks up in Trenton to bring this issue to the forefront of the community and New Jersey at large. The chemicals that are being dropped on us, aluminum, barium, and others, are toxic and they're extremely flammable. And I would really, really like the council to, take this information and review it.
If you want to give it
Could
to
you give it
Meredith.
to Meredith?
I'll take it, and I'll make sure that everybody gets a copy. Thank you.
Appreciate you looking into this. Geoengineeringwatch.com is what it's called. And if anybody else wants a copy of this, I'd be happy to give it to them.
Thank you.
Thanks,
for your
Karen.
Thank you
time.
very much.
you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Hello, everyone. Again, this is Trevor Shell, 164 Camber Lane. I greeted everybody personally the first time, but I don't want to run my 3 minutes down so fast. So, quick question: there, in the condo associations, there is an ordinance that prohibits gas grills, and it empowers the fire department to charge people up to $5,000 a day for non-compliance. Who creates these ordinances? Is that this governing board, or does the fire department create these ordinances and administer them?
George, I'm going to pass this to you.
Yeah, so they're adopted here, but they are pushed forward by the fire district and the fire marshal. That particular one is governed by, I think, the National Fire.
Can you speak up a little bit? Because I'm
I'm-
having a hard time hearing.
Yeah, I'm
you.
also thinking off the top of my head. The National Fire Code standards prohibit the use of gas grills in condo units. So it's a national standard. So that was brought to us years ago, and it was adopted into a code here.
But for overall, to give you more clarification, overall there is fire commission though. We have a fire district. They have an elected board as well, so they have public meetings that you can attend as well. They talk about their budget. They talk about the other things that they're proposing. So that would be the other governing body to
Direct questions?
yeah. If you have any other questions.
Set that one to the side. I did mean to ask this during the budget time. It is public comment.
Mhm.
How much, what impact did purchasing this building have on our budget?
I don't know specifically how to put that into, but we didn't raise taxes when we purchased the building. The tax increase this year is not related to the purchase of the building because obviously we didn't purchase it this year. It's really due to health insurance increases, trash increase, tipping fees, and things such as making sure we have the correct police personnel and EMS to be, handle the call volume that we have in the town with the growing town. And
And if-
also the hotels that we have.
Meredith, you talked also a little bit about the cost, what we purchased it for, and one of the reasons why we did purchase
Yeah,
this.
we purchased this because our police department is accredited. And one of the things that has come up is that their police department actually did not have enough space. We actually had officers, I don't even want to say, sitting in closets. And so when we purchased this, it was to give the police department the needed space that they
I
need.
can't hear what she's saying. I hear a lot of conversation.
Okay, sorry.
I'm trying to
Was
focus on you.
that's okay. To give the police department the needed building that they needed to. We explored the option of, like I said, building our own building, redoing the community center. And the lowest cost to us was to this building. This building had been empty since 2017. The owner of this building owns the other properties. He had been filing tax appeals, which would lower how much tax revenue we were getting due to the fact that this building had been empty since 2017. And Dennis the clerk is here, and I'm sure my assessor doesn't love me putting him on the spot, but I believe we paid square footage wise one of the lowest square footage in the last few years of a sale in the town of Mount Laurel.
For the we have other question for
Hey, I'm hearing some feedback.
This might be too loud. Sorry. Okay.
There you go. Thank you. Go ahead, Trevor.
Thank
Sorry.
you. Appreciate it. Regarding this perceived, I know nothing.
Turn that on.
Heard of before. Is that is concerning to me because that say hard up but the not access space and this side, the tech, but if there's a perceived conflict of interest with whatever scholar, what is the resolution to this issue? What is like, did I guess I'll ask a hard question. Did a state law get violated by the
No.
ordinance that was passed
No.
this evening? And if it did, what's the resolution to that?
I'm gonna pass it down to our solicitor, George. Can you take that?
Sure, is it working? There were no laws broken. It was done through the open public contracts law and the local lands and buildings law, which allow for the lease of space that's not currently being used. But this building was purchased not only for the present need, but for the future needs of the town. So if the town continues to grow, or as the town continues to grow, there's more space in this building. So rather than having that sit idle, it was put to use to bring in revenue for the temporary time.
Could this person rent the second floor of the community center outside of this building? And then he's still renting township space. He's still generating revenue for the township, but now there's no conflict of interest perceived, real otherwise at all. If it's a viable space, then maybe take up residence. Maybe Carol Murphy can take up residence there as well, and then there's no conflict.
The second floor of the community center is not built out. So you'd have to do a massive tenant fit out. And as the manager explained, the cost of doing that was actually more than the cost of purchasing this building. That second floor doesn't have bathrooms. It's used as basically a massive storage facility for all the documents that they're forced to keep under the document retention laws. And as those things expired, those documents get destroyed and then new documents replace them. So it is one big storage repository at this point.
I have 12 seconds. Can you give an update on the defense building that's looks to be
I'll keep the microphone on that one. So
a mess facility that it's replacing in Church Street?
sure. I assume the mayor wants me to keep this question as well. So start first with the EMS building on Church Street, Green Acres. After it was being used for about 35 years, now we're pushing 40 years. Green Acres came and said, you can't use that particular piece of property for EMS. You have to find a new location to move your EMS. Or you have to go through something called a diversion process, which I've done in some other towns, extremely expensive, especially in this town, because you'd have to buy up to 8 times as much property at the same value. So we know the value of property here in town. It was just too much, and then you'd have to build a building on top of it. And I've already talked about how much it costs to build a building. So the township looked for alternatives. At the same time, a redeveloper came in and said, "Hey, I got this idea. I'll build an EMS building for you. We'll put signs, digital signs on the second floor of that. They'll make money. That'll help pay for the building." That company ran into all kinds of financial troubles, some to COVID, some to supply chain, some to their poor management. They went under. Their investors came back and have purchased that building back. I am now in negotiations with them to redo a redevelopment agreement so that they can move forward, finish the building, hand it over to the township. So the Route 73 building will be finished. I can't say soon, but it will be finished and it will be used for emergency services. The building, again, back on Church Street, still provides a valuable location for EMS services since it's so close to many residential neighborhoods, including Holiday Village East. We have submitted a rather large petition to the Department of Environmental Protection. And speaking with them, they are hopeful that they will get through. I think I sent them about 220 pages of history of the property, how we got from A to B, how no governing body since it was purchased in 1987 made any attempts to preserve that particular spot, while it actually made those governing bodies made efforts to preserve the spots around it. So we have a strong argument. We've taken that to the state to try to get them to back off and say that's fine, it can stay as an EMS building. But we are still in the waiting pattern as to when we will hear back from them. Hopefully here in May, realistically sometime over the summer.
There's no EMS services over on that side of town?
Nope, they're still being used while we've appealed the process. They've allowed us to continue to use it.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you,
and for answering all of these, this quick, sporadic blur of questions.
We try.
Thank you.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, Trevor. Thank you.
Okay, so anybody else before? Okay.
So are we having fireworks again on 4th of July?
Yes.
July 3rd.
July 3rd, fantastic. Can we have more food trucks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. We're
Working
in the
on it.
process of trying to get 20. That Jerry Mosh back there is a busy man.
Okay, great. Because I know, as someone who went to the fireworks and talked to people there, I'm sure you heard the same thing with huge success. Glad we're doing
Huge success, yes.
success. Going back to question on, I know there are various, like Mount Laurel Day and certain things where you have bands play. How, if you have a band or know someone who is in a band, how do you get, how can you offer your band services to participate?
Sure. You can email either Samantha in Recreation,
Okay.
or you can shoot an email to myself or Jerry, and or even comments at mountlaurel.com. It's comments, right? Comments at mountlaurel.com, and it goes to all three of us.
Oh, okay. Fantastic.
That goes the same for food trucks too. So
Oh, okay.
friends, family, have a food
And if
truck.
you want to come and sing, you're welcome.
Well, it's my husband's band, but it's an 80s new wave band. They're really fun. So and actually 2 of the band members are Mount Laurel residents.
Great.
Okay. One ask actually for the police chief. So one of the, as Leslie, he had to step away. So one of the things for Monster Man, the ERPO law, so the red flag law, we would love it if there's a way that we could have links to the site, to the state site, on, I guess it's the Mount Laurel page. So, and for example, I know the Township of Audubon does that, just so residents can go and they can read more about it. Is that something that we could do?
Sure, we can definitely look into it.
Okay, great.
I think we have them on our regulars.
Maybe you do.
I
Okay.
think you. I think.
If
la-
I'm
I
wrong,
think.
then
I think last year
it got added.
we got at it.
Okay,
So it is.
I could be wrong.
Yes, I will check with communications director and I will get back to you.
Okay, fantastic. I did want to go back to the red lights. What is the township's involvement in the county roads? So Route 38, I find, I don't know.
No, it's okay. If I lower it, then you can't hear me. So I'm trying to.
Route 38 is perpetually bad with red light runners.
That's a state road, Route 38.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, that's exactly.
Okay.
So my question is,
But
if that-
enforced by us.
How, right, so because if I think about, right, it's bordered right Morristown and Mount Laurel, a lot of it. So what is the process to improve that? Because I have a gentleman who did talk about that. I mean, that is something that I've seen, intersection of Mount Laurel Road and Route 38, the intersection of Church Street and Route 38, the intersection of Martyr Ave and Route 38, as 3 examples. I see people blow through that constantly. So what are the options there?
Just to continue, the more police that you see and the more cars you see pulled over makes people more aware of how they're driving.
But as a state road, like, can they put red light cameras? Is that something as a
No,
township-
state of New Jersey doesn't do red light cameras.
Is there other ways that we can influence? I just didn't know because it's a state road. What are
Yeah. I mean, state police at times can be on the road too. The Chief Hudnall has a good relationship with the state of New Jersey. They go back and forth. But unfortunately, they control exactly what signage and things are on the road. So, we comply with them, but it's really just an enforcement issue, unfortunately.
okay? The last question I had, and Is that my time?
No, you're good.
Okay.
We stop it when I talk, but go ahead. Mhm.
It does go back to the municipal building.
That's your time.
I,
That's
I,
your time.
my own personal, I don't care. But that's me personally. So, but my question is, are there other townships where they have, the municipality also has commercial space? Is this a unique thing that Mount Laurel, is that common across the state?
I don't know what other towns do.
I've definitely seen assembly people in the building.
I'm just curious if if you had an awareness of that.
I think, I don't know. I'd have to look. I think I've
There's
seen,
564
I've seen attorneys. I think.
municipalities, so I guarantee yes. The answer, I can guarantee we
Yeah.
can find one. Yeah.
Okay. That was just, if it was something that you're aware of or something, it sounds plausible.
Yeah.
But I was just curious. Okay. That was it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you again?
Frame a question that under the budget.
Yeah.
You mentioned. How about the- so we should be very clear with how we
Mhm.
fund it.
I mean, again, like it wouldn't be my top three, I'm not saying, sure, electricity, any things of that nature have gone up, but they were in last year's budget because we knew that we were going to move in last year's budget. I mean, if I was looking at this year's budget, like I said, the three major impacts on this year budget, again, is health insurance, trash, and police.
I don't. Higher than
Right, so the NFPA puts out standards. Those standards are adopted by local towns and communities. So it's optional.
Mhm.
I don't know if I don't know in New
about
Jersey
New
that it's
Jersey.
optional.
Might be a DCA question too.
Yeah.
We'd have to ask the state of New Jersey. It might be required in this. It might, again, fire doesn't fall under us since they have their own commission. But it might be required in the state of New Jersey. No. Sure. Sure. hmm
We can look into it.
Yeah.
It's a national standard, it's not a national mandate.
Meredith, can you get his information and let's
Sure.
look?
I
at
can put the
end-
fire chief in touch with
Yeah,
you.
and we can get you the answer. Absolutely. Yep, we're happy to do that. Thank you so much. Anybody else?
He's not, because he's part of a separate entity. So these are the township department heads that are here tonight.
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to close the public portion of this, and I'm going to move on to comments by council. So I'm going to begin with our wonderful Deputy Mayor Stedlick.
Thanks, Mayor. First of all, thank you everybody for coming out. The gun violence group, we do this every year. I've done it every year since I've been on council. I think it's in my personal opinion, a bipartisan failure. We need to work better as a country to reduce gun deaths and not hurt people who are law-abiding citizens as well and their rights as well. So I do appreciate what you guys are doing. What you come every single year, really do appreciate that. Everybody for coming out and speaking. I understand and sympathize with everybody on an increase. Pride myself on not having one, but I do also pride myself on doing what the doctor is prescribing, so to speak. And Meredith worked really hard on this budget. She's gotten an earful from a lot of us here. I want to thank the department heads that are here as well. They work very hard to do what they do, including our police chief, who's always readily available whenever we throw questions at him. Erwin Edelson is here. I just want to say on a personal note, I had the real honor of serving with Erwin for a couple years on council. Always a gentleman, and you continue that, my friend. You always are. And to everybody out here, Dennis served our community as well, and the other people that came out to speak. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for coming up here. Thank you for being respectful. Thank you for articulating your questions with sincerity and with a lot of respect for not just us on this dais, but for your neighbors and for the individuals that work really hard for this township. So thank you for that. My mother would kill me if I didn't say Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and want to once again thank my colleagues for their hard work. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy. Moving along to Councilwoman D'Angelo.
Stephen pretty much covered everything, but I do want to take a moment as a teacher and a councilwoman to recognize Teacher Appreciation Week. Teachers are the heart of our community. Their care, creativity, and guidance impact our children every day. So if you guys have kids in the school district, please thank their teachers. I want to thank Moms Demand Action for all the work that they do, and also thank all our department heads and Meredith for all the hard work that they did on the budget. So thank you all for coming out here for your questions and concerns. This is what we're here for. We're here to answer them and put all of your concerns at ease. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman. I have Councilwoman Catalin Cullen.
Thank you, Mayor. So yes, I wanted to thank Moms Demand Action for being here today, but not for only being here today, for doing all the work that you do every day and making sure we get the resources we need in our communities. So thank you so much for your work. I also was last Saturday, I was at Bancroft. They were hosting the first autism town hall and resource fair here in our town. We were lucky to get chosen by them. It was a fantastic opportunity for the community to come together, share resources for the families, professionals, and first responders. I'm very honored, especially for police department, to get involved in these type of events. I mean, I'm all about community. We have to come together. We have to hear each other, and especially when those tough questions come to the table, we have to be part of. And so thank you so much to our police department. I also wanted to share 2 events coming up from our township. We will be holding our annual Memorial Day. That will be coming up on May 21. If you have any questions, concerns, you can feel free to reach out to our township. And we also having our monthly historical society meeting. So if you want to get involved, there is many ways to get involved in our township. Just please make sure you reach out. And I also wanted to say happy Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month, and also happy Mother's Day to all who celebrate. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Councilman Pritchett.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to start off by thanking Meredith and her staff. I know Meredith like to play the behind the scene, but I would not allow that. It's good to see some of our former council members here this evening. It's great that you all came out. I love the fact that our residents came out and asked the questions. This is what council meetings are for. Come with your questions, your concern, and get answers. We may not always like the answer we get, but it's good to come out of here with the answer to your question. I want to thank all the professionals for being here tonight, taking time to come here. The chief of police, the deputy chief, thank you so much. Of course, Jerry is always the guy. He's like the front face of Mount Laurel. It's always good here. I am pleased being on this council since 2019. We've been here, Steve. It is a great honor. And I love the fact that even though you have these questions, we're able to give you answers. There have not been an answer that has not been question that have not been a question that have not been answered. So again, thank you to all the professionals, everyone coming out. Please get home safe. And again, happy Mother's Day. And I believe this month, Chief, correct me if I'm wrong, is Police Appreciation Weeks. You know, being a former officer myself, sometimes you forget when you're not in the line of duty. So as long as I have been out. But again, thank you all for coming tonight, and get home safe. Thank you.
So I also want to reiterate a little bit the group Moms Demand Action. Thank you so much. Louder. I never had a Greek who doesn't speak loud, so I try to keep it low. But can everybody hear me now? All right. So thank you. A big round of applause for Moms Demand Action. Thank you so much. for all you do on gun violence. I want to thank Meredith and the team on the budget. I know it has not been an easy process, but we're getting through it. Our police chief, thank you, police chief. You do fantastic work for this town. I see the officers out there and all the department heads that have been here. This week, I believe, is Teacher Appreciation Week, National Teacher Appreciation Week. My children have come through the Mount Laurel Public School System, and I'm grateful for all the professionals and all the dedicated teachers. They are absolutely amazing. And now we have also coming up National Police Week. During National Police Week, we recognize the sacrifice made by the men and women in law enforcement who protect and serve our community. We have outstanding officers, and I commend all of you for everything you do every day. I think it was touched. Yes, big round of applause. Thank you. Memorial Day's coming up. I think Councilwoman had discussed it, May 21st. July 3rd is our 4th of July. I want to thank council, especially our mayor last year, for bringing this to our attention. It's a great event. It was a hit, July 4th on July 3rd. We're going to try to have more food trucks. And I, again, want to thank Councilman Pritchett. All your questions are important. It's my first time being mayor of this wonderful town. I have the support of this deputy mayor who's done it a few times, and he does such a great job, and the support of all the council, because I get to learn new things every day. But your questions and you being here makes me smile. You guys coming out, asking questions. Hopefully we can answer most of them. And some answers you might like, some you don't, but we're here for the entire community. So with that being said, happy Mother's Day, and thank you for being out here. I'd like to close this. Can I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone. I'm using the gavel.